All right, welcome. Please introduce yourselves to the people who will be watching this.
Well, hello, I'm Steve, Steve Lay. This is my husband, Lou Huertas, and I've known you, Steve, for, I think, what has it been? 12 years? I don't know, the math is escaping me.
Yeah.
And let's see, I'm a proud Dogtown, St. Louis resident. I'm a brother, a son, a husband, a stepdad, friend. I'm the founder and president of Buzzbolt. We do work for nonprofits and try and take ideas and turn them into processes and systems that make the world a little bit easier to manage, make missions a little easier to pursue.
My name is Lou Huertas, and Steve, I think I've known, well, I am husband to this Steve,
right.
And I have known that Steve on the screen right there about as long as I've been married to this guy. So not quite 12 years, just a handful of years, but it has been a pleasure getting to know you. I am a father to Ella and Liv, a friend. In my kitchen, I say a chef extraordinaire, but the world has yet to judge that. And I, like Steve, in a different way, try to make the world a better place, but I do it by selling beer.
Right. And, add me to the list of the people voting for your food as coming from a kitchen of a chef extraordinaire. Linda and I have gotten to have that food, and it's amazing. Yeah. So as we, all of us are living with the time, we haven't experienced anything like this before. It's very complicated and difficult and challenging. And could you speak to kind of your special gifts or experiences, or kind of what you draw on to deal with a challenging time?
So I thought about this question a little bit, and one of the things that my husband Lou has told me many times is that I seem to have some kind of ability to take a difficult or challenging situation and be in it and deal with it and feel it and experience it, and at the same time, or I guess after I do that, find a place to put it and set it aside so that I can focus on something else and kind of, I guess, get back to goals and get back to wishes and dreams.
I would have to say I second that. He's very good at finding positive things especially in scenarios that to me seem like they're spiraling down into darkness or negative rabbit hole, like this situation. The self-isolation and quarantine is something that, well, no one's really had to do it before, but it is especially hard for me. So he challenges me to kind of find the things that are positive. We have a wonderful home, we have each other, we have, kids that can bring us frustration, but at the same time joy. And I get caught up in the missing human interaction that seems to be gone. So he's very good at encouraging me and challenging me to look for the positive things, even if it's just the little things like sunshine is out. So the sun shines out. There's this great thing that's happening on TV. Let me show it to you. Or, he's really good at, and he challenges me to think of my day stuck here. And I guess I'll do this, stuck here. Because he gets up every morning and he gets dressed like he's going to work, and he puts his belt on, and he puts his nice shoes on, and he goes and sits at the desk, and then I lay there in bed and think, well, heck, I gotta match that kind of enthusiasm some way. Like I gotta raise the bar for myself personally. Mm-hmm. So he's very good at that. I don't think I've said that to him out loud in this process until this moment, but he certainly challenges me to be positive and to let go of the negative or even the fear. I would say, you know, I'm not without gifts myself. I think humor, at least attempting humor, is something I try to find. Uh, being a nurturer, you know, caring for him and for our kids and, you know, our neighbors, and you know, the other day I went to my best friend's house and threw toilet paper at her on her porch because she didn't have any, and that you know, that made her laugh and made me laugh. And so trying to find ways that when before we weren't isolated, that I can still love people in the way that I did when I was able to touch them, when I was able to be in their presence and hug them, has been encouraging. And like I said, for the most part, it involves dropping soup off and, you know, and getting them on the phone and laughing, or reminding somebody, a friend, of an old joke, or, you know, trying to care for them in some small way that doesn't break the rules. So, yeah.
Yeah, you bring a lot of joy into people's lives. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what advice would you all have for people as they're facing this time?
Like an individual or a couple, do you mean? Or both?
You know, both. Yeah, both.
Can I take this one first?
Sure.
I would tell people, and I have, like, don't be afraid of the things that make you you. In this situation, if they're making it hard because there are parts of your personality before that you kind of have to, just don't be afraid of those things. I mean, I'll use an example. For the first 2 weeks of this, every day the weather was nice, I would go out in my driveway with a beer, and I would just wait for people to walk by and enthusiastically wave at them and ask them what kind of dog they had. And it was my need to interact with people, to have just feeling the presence of other people was important to me. Well, don't deny that to yourself. Find ways to do it. You know, everyone says if you've never painted and you want to do that kind of thing, well, maybe you're not a painter. maybe the things you did every day are the things you still need to find ways to incorporate them back into your day. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think at the same time, I was mentioning what, you know, you said that you think that I have a great capability to, like, compartmentalize something and then move forward. In a time like this, when people are under experiencing distress, I think the greatest strength can also be a weakness if it's not managed. And so, you know, that desire to connect, that urgency to connect, can sometimes also, it can put pressure on people. And then, or like me, if I'm really good at compartmentalizing, maybe I'm doing it at times when I shouldn't. So I think both trying to understand your strengths in times where you're at your best and at your worst is something that everybody can learn from.
I would say for couples, you know, remind yourself the reason you got in it in the first place. Remind yourself that this person might be driving you crazy, but there was a reason why you decided to, for better, for worse. And, you know, those words really ring true when you are in isolation with someone and they're the first face you see, they're the only face you see, then you see it before you go to bed. And, like, you know, the little things that sometimes that you can get caught up on because you're again, I'm going to say the word stuck, even though I'm not sure I like it. But I've reminded myself, well, remember, Lou, why you married him in the first place. And if you focus on those things and those parts, it's really not so bad. It's not so bad to be stuck with the person that you said you wanted to be stuck with forever. So it's really not as bad as we think. Yeah, I just have to remind myself of that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, that makes me think of, my mother said that whenever they would get stuck, she would go back to remembering how she felt when they had their wedding dance, and then kind of level set there, and then have things kind of come back from that point. And that sounds like something you find yourself doing. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
So as we all continue to deal with this, is there any kind of question that keeps coming back to you, something you're wondering about in all of this?
I wonder if there is maybe a cultural and social silver lining to this, that maybe, you know, we all talk about deeper connections with people. You know, those of us who consider ourselves more progressive kind of look at the state of the world and what's happening politically, and we keep saying it's got to get better, we got to make it better. And I wonder if after this is all done, if we won't all have a deeper connection because of shared experience, not dissimilar maybe to World War II or the Depression. And I'm not trying to compare all those things because clearly I have no frame of reference. But I wonder if maybe as a people, as a culture, things like the differences that we maybe focused on so heavily before, whether it be someone's origin or orientation or type of family, maybe those things won't matter as much when we come out of this. Maybe our desire to connect with people will overcome our own biases.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I can't even pick one question. There's so many questions that I have. I think, you know, where we are on the other side of this is something that definitely comes to mind. I think that you've kind of framed the idea of what that question can be and how it can be viewed in a generative and positive way. I think that was really nicely stated. Sometimes in the immediacy of this stuff, I'm hearing people talk about some of their stresses and the things that are building up for them, and I hear this thought from some people about their stresses being based in their inability to control the moment or the situation, and this is, I feel, pretty unprecedented in a way where all of us are so affected by something that we just really can't directly control. We can only indirectly control, and we can only hope that everybody around us will participate at a meaningful and significant enough level that that we all are able to benefit and survive it without any furtherance to the tragedy. And so I think the simplest question we can ask ourselves is how do I do that the best I can for what I can control, which is me. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's just like, that's the thing that helps me get through right now, is just realizing that I do have control and the scope is limited, and that's just fine.
This isn't meant to make anyone chuckle, but I ask myself all the time, and I think many times a day, oh my God, am I going to be able to hug people again? Will people be able to hug? And that's really a very physical thing I think about, a tactile thing I think about, is how much I miss hugging people. And I don't know that I will ever take that for granted again.
Yeah. So one other question that just comes to me, and that sounds like part of what you would say. Like, so we fast forward to when it is, when we're back to, or not back to, but we're not having to, shelter in place and do all of that stuff. So, Lou, it sounds like hugging's going to be, like, I guess my question is, like, what are the first 2 or 3 things you want to do when, we're not living in this way? What are the first couple of things as soon as we get an all clear, or at least, that it's safe to, what are a couple of things each of you would like to do?
Wow. Gosh, that's a hard one. You didn't send us this question ahead of time.
I know, I'm sorry, it just came to me, and
I'm breaking the rules.
I'm just having such a great time talking to you, so.
You want me to go?
Go for it, yeah.
I mean, I already spoke to you a little bit. I mean, this is not, no joke, Steve. I have a list on my phone of people that I can't wait to hug. So that's number one. And I think the second thing that I'm going to do is belly up at my favorite bar and talk to every single person that walks through the door. Thirdly, to quote his sister, my sister-in-law, is go out to his cabin and have the biggest party and love fest with family and friends that we could possibly have.
Yeah, so I think that's it. I think it's just to no longer miss the things that I can choose to attend or miss, and just show up.
Yeah, the times where you've kind of skipped something because of work or because you're tired or you chose not to spend that time with another person, or not because you're being selfish, just because you might have some needs yourself, like work to do, or you're tired, or there's just too much going on. And my God, we've had 7 Thanksgivings. I think I would go to 8 Thanksgivings. Like, I think you would think differently about those things after this, considering you're forced to not do any of those things anymore. So,
if I could keep something, I would keep not driving.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Well, thank you both for doing this. This is really generous of you to do this, and I'm just sitting here smiling because it's great to spend time with you in any circumstance, and just to hear your wisdom. I'm just really grateful. So thanks for sharing that.
Likewise, thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Right. You'll have a meal coming your way, I promise.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, bye, Steve. Bye.
Bye.